Hi, Drew Wilson from Freezenet here. Today I got another vlog posting. Yeah, it's been a while since I've uploaded something, but Christmas holidays, it's a really busy time of year for me and well, things do happen, but you know what? I am back, that's the main thing, and I got a bit of an update for you on the whole Bill C-11 situation. So, a lot has happened since my last upload. For one, the Canadian Senate has ultimately passed the legislation on the third reading, so it headed back into the House of Commons. And it sounds like a really bad story, but there is actually a bit of good news with that. And that has to do with an amendment that was passed by Senators Paula Simons and Senators Maville Deschênes. And I have that amendment right here. Now you might recall, yeah, Section 4.2 is where the government was regulating user-generated content. But this amendment, I think, actually does a lot to fix that. So the amendment reads, 2. In making regulations under subsection 1, the Commission shall consider the following matters. A, the extent to which a program contains a sound recording that has been assigned a unique identifier under an international standard system. B, the fact that the program has been uploaded to an online undertaking that provides a social media service by the owner or the exclusive licensee of the copyright in the sound recording, or an agent of the owner. C, the fact that the program or a significant part of it has been broadcast by a broadcasting undertaking that I is required to be carried on under a license, or II is required to be registered with the Commission but does not provide a social media service. So that does a lot, and I honestly looked through this like several times over, and I was just trying to figure out, okay, does this still regulate user-generated content? Does this still regulate user-generated content? And the answer ended up being a conclusive no that I could tell. There was one or two people that said that it still does, but I never figured out what they meant by that necessarily. So as far as I could tell, the Senate actually fixed the biggest problem with Section 4.2, and ultimately the biggest problem for Bill C-11, which was Section 4.2. And I thought, boy, I didn't really see that coming, because I thought with my prediction that I made earlier that yeah, it's going to be the bill's going to pass without being fixed, and we're going to head into litigation, and things are looking pretty grim, and I didn't see anything differently. But with this fix, I was like, well, maybe my prediction was wrong. I'd be happy with the idea that the prediction was wrong. So I thought, okay, well, maybe if my prediction is wrong, then maybe we can finally breathe a sigh of relief on this whole thing. And the other part too about this is the fact that since it got sent back to the House of Commons, that the government was really put in a tight spot. Essentially, on the one hand, they could say, okay, we're waving the white flag, and yeah, we didn't mean to regulate user-generated content. Luckily, this fixes it, so we will accept the amendment. The other choice is that no, the whole point of Bill C-11 is to regulate user-generated content, and anything besides that is basically superficial. And I know we said that we're not regulating user-generated content, platforms are in and users are out, that kind of, obvious lies essentially. But essentially, it basically put the government in the hot seat and said either you accept that user-generated content is either in the bill or out of the bill. There is no middle ground here. And today we ended up getting an answer to that. The government has basically issued a notice saying that they are rejecting the 4.2 fix. And I have the text of what was said here, and that is the Canadian government respectfully disagrees with Amendment 3 because this would affect the governor in council's ability to publicly consult on and issue a policy direction to the CRTC to appropriately scope the regulation of social media services with respect to their distribution of commercial programs, as well as prevent the broadcasting system from adapting to technological changes over time. So basically they flat out admitted that yes, this was totally about regulating user-generated content. We're trying to crack down on free speech here by saying, okay, content that we certify as good Canadian content is should be prioritized over everyone else, and everyone else will basically get screwed. And the statement did kind of say, oh, this is about, being adaptable to possible technological changes, but they never say why. Like, what are you worried about? What are you trying to regulate? What is this supposed to do that the original fix doesn't do? And they never were forthcoming with that. So yeah, basically another lie that basically got shot down by their own doing. So yeah, as a result of this move by the government, then the original Section 4.2 stands, so user-generated content is basically back in the bill. And it's a really dire situation, but the question now is, okay, what's the next steps? Well, the government has to basically vote on a final version that kind of reconciles both the Senate version and the House of Commons version, and then afterwards basically pass a final version. So the hope at this point that I could tell, the best hope, is that the Senate will kick up some sort of fuss about it and say, no, we are trying to fix this really important section of the bill, and you basically rejected it. So we're basically, all of us digital first creators are hoping for a clash to actually happen, and maybe afterwards that the Senate will come out victorious on this, because anything short of that means that this bill becomes law. So user-generated content is going to be in the bill, and even though that would be a really bad scenario, that seems to be a fairly likely scenario at this point in time. There's also the fact that there are potential lawsuits involved, because you don't basically wreck the Charter of Rights and Freedoms without someone having a say in the matter. But there's going to be lawsuits that are going to have to get settled afterwards. There's also the threat of international retaliation from the United States. The United States has issued 4 warnings now directly to the Canadian government, saying that this bill is bad and it violates CUSMA. And they've said specifically what sections they violate. Well, at least the CCIA says specifically what sections that it violates, and the American government basically concurred. There's also the letter from the American Senate. I think it was the Finance Committee, Senate, or whatever. Anyway, they basically issued a bipartisan letter basically decrying this bill as well. So there is hope on that regard, but essentially after this receives royal assent, then it is out of the public domain and into the hands of wealthy corporations and other governments, and basically us little people will no longer have a say in the matter. Not that we really had much of a say based on this latest development, but we really don't have a say after this. So there's plenty of ways you can kind of fight against this. There's Digital First Canada has a petition fighting against this bill. There's, I think, Open Media also has a petition fighting against this. So whether you're on the creator side or the user side, you have options still, but time is definitely running out. I highly recommend, if you haven't done it already, sign that letter. Maybe issue some statements to your representative, your MP, to try and reject the bill. It's a long shot at this point, but it doesn't hurt. I mean, at least you tried, essentially. So yeah, it's a bad situation, but it's not over. Dire for sure. So that is the update. Not the most cheery update in the world, but that's basically the update I have for you today. So if you want to support us, there are plenty of ways you can do that. You can you can drop us a like and let us know, hey, you're doing a great job, keep up the good work. You can also subscribe to our YouTube channel and turn notifications, get that real-time update thing going. It lets you know right away when we've uploaded something as well, so you know immediately when we have uploaded something. But if you have too many notifications as it is, don't worry about it. You can also just subscribe and not have the notifications. The subscription does help out our channel as well. You can check out our website, freezenet.ca, and you can check out all our latest news, music reviews, video game reviews. We have a full-fledged wiki for all your music exploration needs, and yeah, we're gonna. It seems kind of increasingly futile to keep fighting this at this point, since it just seems to be headed in the direction of basically my career is over. But you know what? I'm fighting till the end. I am fighting to the bitter end on this whole thing. So I'm going to keep fighting. Who knows? Who knows what's going to happen in the future at this point. You can also subscribe to our Patreon page, patreon.com/Freezenet, and you can get all the insider information. You can get access to our podcast, early access to our podcast, no less, and a whole bunch of other features too. So want to get on that action, that's a good option for you. But if subscriptions aren't your thing, then you can also just drop us a little donation via our coffee page, coffee.com/Freezenet. So plenty of ways to support us while this operation lasts, seemingly. So I guess that is all for now, and until next time, keep it cool.